He woke up in a daze, with flour in his hair and the smell of yeast in his nostrils. For a moment he did not understand where he was. His mind reached for the gatehouse, the blue rings of arcane light, the spears twisting in the dark, and found only blankness. He tried to move and realized he was lying in something soft, warm, and strangely yielding. Dough. He was half buried in a heap of fresh dough laid out for bread, yet his cloak and skin were clean. No paste clung to him. The dough was soft and cozy, like bedding, as if someone had covered him with sheets and pressed warmth around his bones. He lifted his head and saw the window. Beyond it, a tight, cobbled road, a short stone wall to stop the river's overflow, and water that looked like a river only by habit. It moved slowly. It stank. It wore a skin of blackness that did not reflect the morning. And there, half a street away, the bridge stood, close enough that his body flinched, close enough that the memory of last night tried to return. It was morning, not the clean morning of Rowan Forest. This was Marthel's morning, dim, grey, and reluctant, as if the sun itself had to negotiate entry. A laugh bubbled from behind him.
Ah, there you are.
He turned. A woman stood near the ovens, hands dusted white, cheeks warm with heat, eyes bright. She had the plump steadiness of someone who had kept a place alive by refusing to let it stop being ordinary. Flour marked her apron. Her presence made the room feel less like a trap. Then he saw the creature. In the corner, a goblin thing sat hunched over a sack, eating as if it had been starving for months. It was green, small, and wrong in the way a thing looked when it had been forced into a shape it did not choose. Its body was squat and slippery, its movements quick, its appetite constant. It shoveled food into itself with both hands, veggies, fruit, bladders, anything it could get its fingers around. It ate with a grin that was almost childlike. The baker laughed again, the sound soft and bubbly, as if she were indulging a naughty grandchild.
Oh, you,
she said, addressing the druid with a tilt of her head.
He is harmless now, as long as he eats. Just don't talk to him for too long, or he might remember why he was, oh, so angry.
The druid rose carefully from the dough. His muscles ached with the stiffness of violence interrupted. He tested his fingers. His grip returned. What is it? He asked. The baker's eyes crinkled.
A problem, a solution, a reminder.
The goblin burped loudly and kept eating. The druid's gaze sharpened. He felt it then, like a weight behind his eyes, a subtle pressure, as if his mind was still stretched open from the spell he had spoken in the street. He realized he had never released it. His eyes had returned to brown, but the enchantment remained active in his bones, humming quietly like a held breath. He spoke, low and precise. Urlta an vortus. The pressure eased. The world stopped pressing itself into his mind. His body relaxed a fraction, and he realized how close to panic he had been without knowing it. The baker watched him with open curiosity.
You druids, always so polite with your minds.
He ignored the humor. Where are we?
My bakery.
As if the question were absurd.
2 streets from where you decided to die.
The druid moved to the window, keeping his profile low. He searched the street for demon guards. He searched for movement that didn't belong. Nothing. The road looked ordinary, too ordinary. The lamps were unlit. The gatehouse was out of sight. Whatever had happened last night had left no trace in this small pocket of city. How long?
Long enough for your body to stop trying to flee without you.
He turned. Why am I not chained? The baker's smile softened, then tightened.
Because I did not let them take you.
The goblin paused mid-chew, as if it had been listening all along. It swallowed, then resumed eating with renewed urgency. The baker gestured toward a narrow staircase curling upward into shadow.
Come,
she said.
Not here.
He hesitated. He did not trust stairs in Marthel. Stairs led upward or downward, into places that did not return you. But the river was behind him, and the bridge was too close, and he had no other path. He followed. They climbed a twisting, narrow staircase, Gothic in shape, but worn by hands that had climbed it for years, carrying flour and firewood. On the second story, he saw workers. 2 women and a man stood at benches, gossiping while kneading dough, their laughter too bright for this city. They looked up as he passed, then looked away. Not frightened, not curious, as if they had seen stranger things than a druid waking in bread. The druid moved to a dim window and looked down again. Morning was still grey. The river still stank. The baker came beside him, speaking quietly now.
You may want to leave, but if you stay for a moment, I believe we can help you. And I believe you can help us, whether you mean to or not.
The druid turned to her fully. Only then did he notice what his panic and exhaustion had missed. The bakery was full of symbols. Not decoration, not merchant marks. Runes, old ones. They sat carved into doorframes, painted faintly along beams, etched into baking stones. They were layered and renewed, as if someone had repaired them over decades. A language known by few now. Barely any scribes left who could read it, let alone practice it. The druid's stomach tightened. Magic in Marthel was not supposed to look like this. Not clean, not disciplined, not old. He had expected corruption. He had expected greed. He had expected a city that stole. He had not expected a baker who maintained runes as if they were as normal as flour. The baker saw his gaze catch on the markings and gave a small, tired smile.
You see, this is why I can keep him small.
She nodded toward the goblin below.
And why you're not in chains.
The druid's voice lowered. Who are you? The baker leaned in slightly, just enough that her warmth could not disguise the steel beneath it.
Someone who has survived long enough to learn what Marthel truly does to spirits, and someone who recognized you the moment you staggered under that gatehouse.
The druid felt his chest tighten. You were there, he said. The baker did not answer directly. She gestured toward a ruined doorway on the second floor. Older, more densely marked than any other. The runes around it were not decorative. They were layered in intentional patterns.
Come,
she said again, firmer.
We speak there, not another word in the open.
He followed. Inside was the kitchen proper. Simple benches, a wood fire stove, ingredients laid out in a peculiar, disorganized order that somehow still felt deliberate. The room was warm, but the warmth had a boundary. The air in here did not feel like Marthel's air. It felt like a held pocket. The baker motioned him to sit at a small table where pastries waited. Fresh, golden, too beautiful for this city. He hesitated, then sat. His body was starving, but his mind did not trust anything that offered comfort so easily.
I've prepared this for you. Eat as much as you please. This story is long, and you look like you've been running for a week.
Baker, he said, keeping his voice controlled. I appreciate hospitality, but we must speak instantly of what is unfolding in this city. Surprise flickered across her face at the command in his tone. Then, respect. She nodded once.
As you wish, eat and listen.
He took a piece of fruit pastry. The scent alone made him realize how hungry he truly was. He bit. Sweetness flooded his mouth. Then something else slid behind it. A soft film over his eyes. The room sharpened, then deepened, as if the world were becoming a story told from within itself. The baker watched his pupils widen.
That will help you see what I mean.
The druid recognized the feeling. Psychedelic mushrooms grew in Druidaine forests. The pastry's effect was similar, less wild, more controlled, as if guided by someone who understood exactly how much vision a mind could handle without breaking. The baker began. As you know, she said, Druidaine is where magic lies strongest in the world. It sits beside the homeland of elves, the race who live closest to the spirit realm. Her voice did not lecture, it layered. Each sentence was placed like a stone on a foundation. The ancestors of your people lived for so long in lands imbued with magic, alongside the elves, that humans developed a touch for the spirit realm. From that, the most skilled formed the Druids, a sect tasked with harmonizing the natural world and the spirit world, and wielding the power born where the two interact. The Druid's vision shifted. He saw Druidaine as a living braid of river and forest, spirits moving like wind through leaves. He saw Druids as points of stillness where the braid held its shape. The first kings of the Druids learned something, the baker continued. Harmony can be used for light or for dark. The vision darkened. When ruled with righteousness, she said, your order helps civilizations bloom. You birth cultural and technological revolutions. Nature holds balance through you. Spirits remain what they are meant to be. The vision brightened again, then twisted. But when ruled by darkness, she said quietly, spirits lurk, nature mutates, the world becomes hostile, and the pedestal swings. The druid felt his jaw tighten. He had been taught this history with reverence and shame. To hear it spoken in a bakery in Marthel felt like sacrilege and truth. The first and only dark king of the druids, she said, left a scar on the planet, an island in the far north, the Arctic Shadowlands. The vision showed cold and ruin, something that should have been dead, but was not. Ever since, she continued, the world has balanced between what was left behind, corrupted, confined to the north, and those who fought back, healing the lands and bringing back bloom through harmonizing nature with the gods. Druidaine healed. Rivers teemed with magic again. Ents walked the countryside, and Rowan Forest became a near-perfect harmonization of spirit and nature. The druid saw the Rowan Forest as he remembered it. He felt a pang of homesickness sharp enough to cut. But the pedestal never stops moving, the baker said. And now more than ever, the world is tainted with war. Men, elves and dwarves fight skirmishes against orcs and whatever evil still lurks in the north. Her eyes hardened. We believed Druidaine was distant from this, she said, until recently. The vision shifted, Marthel rising like a wound. Marthel is corrupt, she said, and the banished lands have stopped shrinking to the east. The druid's breath caught. What? He said. We haven't heard from Marthel in years. The baker leaned forward. Her gaze stayed soft, but something red glowed behind it, like warning heat in the heart of the earth.
You haven't heard, because something has taken Marthel's throat.
The vision sharpened into a throne room. In Marthel, she said, an elf has managed not to descend into a mere Gibbs gobbler. He avoided self-destruction in lust and greed. That descent normally happens in the south, where elven culture eroded long ago into an orgy of hierarchy and hunger. Elves there become pale versions of themselves, horns, tusks, spines. Power grows, society turns cruel, it mocks what elves once were. The druid saw it and felt nausea.
This elf stayed in the north, and he corrupted his way through Marthel. Weak politicians left the throne room open, blinded by wealth and grievance. Through deception, he acquired what he should never have been able to touch: the Eye of Alden.
The vision snapped. The druid's eyes cleared. The film lifted a fraction, as if his mind had jerked away from the image. He leaned forward, hands gripping the table. Stop, he said. If he has it, if he truly has it, then... He swallowed. Marthel's politicians have always been weak, but not treacherous, he said. This elf must have more than cunning. For if anyone were to use the eye of the king of the gods, our lands would be issued into times not seen since the Great War. If he has it, it may already be too late. The baker did not flinch. She had expected his fear.
Listen, you are not here to stop him alone. You are here to carry the warning.
The film returned to his eyes, gentler now, guiding him back into vision.
He has begun using the eye to leak its power into our world.
The druid saw the throne room again, saw the eye standing on a pillar, saw something thin and wrong opening in the air around it.
This eye already holds within it millions of spirits from battle, many from the old dark north. The eye is an elf relic handed to humans during the Great War. It is believed to be the reason your lands are abundant in ents, goblins and fairies, rather than orcs, demons and Gibbs gobblers.
The druid felt sick. It was too large to hold in one mind.
If he draws spirits of 1,000,000 souls into the eye, killed not through righteous battle, but brutal murder, the pedestal will move. Evil will march south. The eye must not be allowed to hold more innocent mortals than corrupted spirits. It will rip apart the essence of your powers.
The vision showed a rift.
So far, he has created a breach within inner Marthel. It radiates from the throne room. It tears at the fabric of harmony, letting spirits cross freely into our world.
The druid's voice came through the vision, telepathic, as if the pastry had made his thoughts audible. The druids had noticed changes. Correspondence had stopped 3 years ago. They had relied on common men to fix what they did not want to look at. Too complacent, too proud. Now he understood why previous missions failed. He was the youngest, the most present initiate. He had been sent because he would listen. When the film lifted from his eyes, he found the baker watching him with the patience of someone who had already lost much.
You have placed trust in me. I hope you are not as gullible as you seem.
He managed a tight smile. Our gods may be losing power here, he said, but Ulta Vortus guided me into your hands. Her smile returned, small, sharp, approving.
I thought you muttered an old tongue, you wise little rascal. Such a young druid with such a cognizant mind.
Her gaze softened.
My name is Shawla. Your masters will know it. I was once head baker for the Lords of Marthel. I was lucky to flee across that river with my life when this began.
She glanced toward the window, toward the river that stank like a warning.
I do not expect I will ever leave this wretched place.
The druid stood. I cannot stay, he said. I wish I could repay you, but I must return to Rowan's End at once. Shawla nodded, as if she had already accepted this long ago.
After last night, tread carefully. You were lucky I knew to wait for the druid's return by the only sufficient crossing.
They left the kitchen and returned to the preparation room. The upstairs workers were gone. Where they had stood, a satchel now rested on a bench, packed full, heavy with food. Beside it, the goblin crouched, attempting to stuff an entire pastry into his mouth. He looked up as the druid entered, froze, and tried to swallow too quickly. Jam burst across his face like a wound. Shawla laughed.
I think,
she said, hands on her hips.
This one can pay you back for last night, by helping you out of the city.
The goblin gulped. Its eyes widened with sudden excitement.
A mission. A mission. Is there relief after all?
The druid looked to Shawla, distrust in every line of his body. Won't he turn on me when the food runs out? He asked. I can't have someone sucking on my resources only to become my enemy when they're gone. Shawla leaned close enough that her whisper felt like a spell.
It's 4 hours out of here. Once you're out, he can go where he pleases.
Her eyes flicked toward the river again.
And the further you get from this place, the less chance he has of turning.
The druid took the satchel. He felt its weight and realized it was not just food, it was time, it was distance. It was the only kind of protection Marthel still respected. He walked to the window one last time. The street below was quiet, too quiet. No refugees, no panic, as if the city could still hide its own sickness beneath routine. He turned back. Thank you, he said, and meant it. Shawla's smile was tired but real.
Go, and do not mistake mourning for safety.
The druid nodded once and tossed the satchel to the goblin. Then he descended the staircase, the goblin scuttling after him, clutching its own bundle close. They stepped back into Marthel's foul air. The city did not welcome them, it watched. And as they turned away from the bakery, heading north, the druid felt it, the faintest pressure in the air, as if Marthel itself had noticed movement. He did not look back. Together, the unlikely pair began their mission to reach Rowan's End. Behind them, somewhere beyond the stink of river and stone, something in inner Marthel pulsed, slow, patient, aware. And the road ahead felt like a thing that could choose not to appear. The city did not want him to leave. The druid felt this the moment he stepped away from the bakery and into the mid-morning haze of Marthel's outer streets. Light fell awkwardly here, filtered through soot-stained stone and warped glass, bending in ways that made distance lie. Sounds carried too far down one alley, then not at all down the next. The river's stench still lingered in the air, a reminder of how close he had come to crossing, and how utterly impossible that now seemed. He did not look back. Beside him, the goblin waddled forward with unsettling cheer. the satchel bumping against its misshapen body. Its mouth worked constantly, chewing, swallowing, chewing again. Blue jam still stained its chin, though it had long since licked its fingers clean.
You move like prey.
The goblin muttered suddenly, its voice thin and wet.
City sniffs prey.
The druid stiffened, but said nothing. He had already learned that silence was safer than curiosity. They took streets that bent northward, away from the bridges and the looming inner towers. The architecture subtly changed as they climbed, buildings growing older, less uniform, their Gothic severity softened by time and neglect. Runes marked the stonework here, but they were faded, overwritten, or scratched through, as though the city itself no longer trusted what once protected it. It was day, and outer Marthel moved. Horse-drawn carts rattled over cobbles. Bakers leaned from windows, calling prices that no one bargained over. Workers passed each other without greeting, eyes fixed ahead, shoulders drawn tight. Doors closed quickly. Conversations ended abruptly. No one lingered long enough to be remembered, or raised their head high enough to be recognized. The druid felt watched all the same. Shadows clung too closely to walls. Reflections lingered a heartbeat longer than they should have. Once, he caught sight of a figure standing at the far end of a street that vanished when he blinked. All through it, the goblin incessantly waddled and chomped on his food. The goblin hissed softly.
Don't see them. Seeing is invitation.
I told you the dark alleys hide darker secrets.
The druid stopped. From beneath a leaning archway stepped the elf from the Renaissance inn. The same slender frame, the same peculiar pointed hat pulled low over silver hair. His expression held the same calm confidence, tempered now by something sharper and more urgent. Relief flickered across the druid's face before he could stop it. "You followed me," the druid said. The elf inclined his head.
I said I couldn't make it across the river. I never said I wouldn't make sure you lived long enough to understand why.
The goblin froze mid-chew, then slowly turned its head.
Pointy hat elf. I seen you. Watched you watch.
The elf glanced down at it, amused.
Then I did my job well.
The druid looked between them. "You know the baker?"
I knew of her. I just hope her magic works long enough for us to get this guy and you out of here.
He straightened and placed a hand briefly over his chest.
My name is Auladris. I am a seer of the Western Elves.
The words carried weight even here.
We have watched Marthel closely.
Auladris continued as they resumed walking.
Something has shifted. Spirit and stone is answering the same call. That should not happen.
"You didn't leave when you found it," the druid said. Auladris smiled faintly.
I found what was happening, not who was guiding it. And something told me to wait.
His eyes flicked to the druid.
Then you walked into my firelight.
They climbed higher, nearing the city's northern edge. The buildings thinned into older stone and half-forgotten terraces. People still moved here, but cautiously, giving each other space, still avoiding eye contact, as though any acknowledgement might invite consequence. "No guards," the druid observed.
Not by day. They walk only at night, or if the river is approached, they seem to be coming from some sort of widening spirit breach.
They stopped before a collapsed stairway, choked with stone and moss.
Here
The goblin announced.
is a place a city forgets.
Auladris brushed the moss aside, revealing ancient runes beneath, clean, precise, and untouched by newer markings.
These were carved before Marthel learned how to lie. They do not answer power, only faith.
The druid stepped forward and placed a hand on a rune of Alden. "I do not belong here," he said quietly. The room stirred. Stone shifted, opening into a narrow passage, descending into cool, waiting darkness. The air within hummed, not corrupted, but old. They entered, and the stones closed behind them. Sound vanished at once, and the rooms dimmed blue with light from the walls, illuminating from symbols older than Druidaine script, spiraling inward around a central motif that made the druid's vision blur, not darken, but deepen. Pressure gathered behind his eyes. Then a presence filled the passage, vast and restrained, carrying the weight of storm and sacrifice.
You walk a road not meant to be remembered.
The druid stopped. Alden. The others felt it then, a pressure without touch, a gaze without form.
You were sent to witness, not to reclaim. The passage remains closed to you, not by weakness, but by design.
Images followed, dark armies of immeasurable power coming from an armada across the ocean, a spear passing through an armored ent and reaping its soul. A group of druids praying from afar, certainty curdling into panic.
The one who stirs marvel seeks balance through command. He draws spirits into stone, believing it will obey.
The passage trembled faintly.
Spirit does not obey, it remembers, it waits.
The weight lifted. The druid steadied himself, breath slow. Auladris watched him with open reverence.
You carry the regard of a god,
Auladris said softly. I carry a warning, the druid replied. They walked on. Light appeared ahead. Pine-scented air followed, sharp and clean. They emerged onto a narrow mountain path overlooking Marthal from the north. The city sprawled below them, vast, restless, its towers cutting into the sky. Somewhere deep within it, something pulsed, aware. Behind them, the passage sealed itself seamlessly. The goblin exhaled.
Less city now.
Auladris looked south, then fell into step beside the druid.
Rowan Forest lies ahead. Ilandru can wait.
The druid nodded. Together, they turned from Marthal and faced the mountains. Beyond them lay a forest that still remembered how to protect its own, and a world that would soon need to remember the same. The night they met, Auladris felt the druid before he saw him. The door to the Renaissance Inn opened, and the fire leaned. Not visibly, not in any way that would have drawn comment, but enough. Flame bent toward presence the way breath bent toward warmth, and Auladris knew at once that the long wait had ended. The druid entered cautiously, eyes adjusting not to the light, but to what lay beneath it. He took in the room with practiced restraint, weighing silence as carefully as sound. Auladris remained seated by the hearth, staff resting against his knee, allowing the moment to settle. Seers were taught not to rush recognition. The world revealed itself more honestly when given time. The druid listened more than he spoke. He drank little, ate with care. When he smiled, it was measured, as though joy itself might draw attention. Around them, the inn murmured with half-truths and omissions. Talk of roads that shifted at dusk, of the river's scent changing, of wards that still glowed but no longer held. None of it surprised Auladris. All of it confirmed what he had come to find. When they finally spoke, it was quietly and without ceremony. Warnings were exchanged without being named as such. The river was mentioned obliquely. The city's patience was acknowledged. Auladris felt the familiar pressure tighten, the uneasy pull between spirit and stone that had not existed here before. The druid was not its cause, but he resonated with it. Auladris made sure to warn of the dark alleys, and when the druid rose to leave, Auladris followed him only with his eyes. The fire dimmed slightly as the human stepped away, reluctant to lose its focus. Auladris waited until the inn forgot him and slipped away into the night. Darkness claimed Marthal quickly. Lamps burned with warped light, shadows stretching and arching against stone. From the rooftops and narrow walkways above the streets, Auladris followed as the druid moved northward, careful and alert, instinctively avoiding places where the city seemed to watch itself. The ambush came swiftly. Demon guards emerged near the gatehouse, their presence folding shadow into form. Auladris felt the distortion spike, too sharp, too exposed. The druid fought well, but loudly. Power flared, raw and honest, and the city answered. It could not be allowed to continue. Auladris raised his staff and spoke softly into the night.
Veilthir en quora silmareth.
The world folded inward, sound vanished, light collapsed. The demon guards were torn from the moment, banished not by force, but by refusal, all but one. It struck the stone hard, its form unraveling but intact. The druid staggered. Auladris brought his staff down once more.
Lumire Thalanor.
The druid fell, unconscious before he touched the ground. Auladris lifted him and moved quickly, unseen, through streets older than Marthel's current will. The bakery door opened at his approach. Shorla was awake, as she always was. She said nothing as he laid the druid among the warmth and rising dough. The runes in the walls stirred faintly, recognizing shared purpose. Outside, the broken demon writhed weakly. Auladris knelt beside it as Shorla joined him, already holding a small bundle wrapped in cloth.
Feed it this.
Pressing it into his hands.
There's a binding in the bread. Old work. It'll teach the spirit how to stay.
Auladris nodded. The creature fed. Its shape shifted, compressing, reforming, shedding its edges. Horns softened, limbs shortened. Its voice broke into something small, wet and constant. A goblin. Auladris exhaled slowly.
That is preferable.
He guided the creature back inside and left it among the warmth and yeast, then returned to the rooftops. The night passed slowly. Shadows prowled, but did not approach. Whatever stirred Marthel was adjusting, recalibrating. As dawn crept over the city, a presence lingered, close enough to ache. Auladris knew it at once, a fallen brother. Not dead, not living. An elf who had chosen command over balance, drawing spirit into stone and calling it harmony. When the druid emerged later that morning, restored but wary, Auladris followed at a distance, not hiding, not intruding. They moved northward, away from the river and the inner towers. The city stirred uneasily around them. Then the goblin spoke.
Don't see them. Seeing is invitation.
Auladris felt the truth of it settle into his bones, and knew the druid would remember the firelight.